Imagine walking through a place where the walls themselves seem to remember the cries of the tortured. A place where every corridor, every cell, every shadow carries the weight of unimaginable suffering. This is not just a building. This is a monument to fear, despair, and vengeance. I am talking about the Eastern State Penitentiary in Philadelphia, built in 1829. A prison that was meant to reform men through isolation, but ended up trapping something far darker. From the moment its iron gates slammed shut behind you, the air feels heavy with silence. Yet you can almost hear the faintest whispers of a past that refuses to stay buried. The architecture was designed to crush hope. Long hallways stretching endlessly. Cells so small that a man could barely move. And solitary confinement that was meant to cure the soul, but instead created madness. The warden thought he was building a system of order and discipline. But he was unknowingly constructing a home for something much older. Something that thrived in human suffering. Prisoners came and went. Their names faded into history, but their anguish did not. In those cold, damp cells, countless men screamed into the night, begging for mercy, begging to be heard. Some left broken in body, others broken in mind. But many never left at all. They lingered. Their pain became trapped in the walls. And some say their presence never left. The echoes of their cries still haunt the corridors. A faint chorus that grows louder when no one else is there. And it wasn't only the prisoners who felt it. Guards who patrolled the long shadow filled corridors reported seeing figures. Dark, shifting shapes at the edge of their vision. Shapes that would vanish when looked at directly, leaving only a cold, unnatural chill behind. Footsteps echoed where no one walked, and heavy doors slammed shut without cause. Even the bravest men would feel a hand brush their shoulder, or hear their name, whispered in a voice that no human could make. Among the infamous inmates, there was Al Capone, whose notoriety filled the prison with tension and fear. But even he could not escape the strange, unnerving presence that haunted every cell. Guards said the spirits did not differentiate between the guilty or the innocent, the famous or the forgotten. Every soul left behind in Eastern State Penitentiary added to the growing, restless energy that seemed to seep into the very stones of the prison. The prison itself became a character in its own story, a living entity shaped by decades of misery. It is said that some nights, the cells themselves seemed to breathe. Shadows danced along the walls without cause. Prisoners who were once living, or the echoes of those who were long gone, whispered secrets to each other in the darkness. And if you dared to enter the solitary cells, where men had spent weeks, months, even years in isolation, you would feel a presence pressing close to your soul, watching, waiting, listening. They say that the original intent of the prison was reform. But reform never came to those who lived and died within. The system broke them, and, in breaking them, it created a feeding ground for something else entirely, something that could not rest. And so, over the years, the stories grew. Voices in the dark, screams that seemed to come from nowhere, shadows moving against the walls, footsteps echoing down empty hallways. All signs that Eastern State Penitentiary had become more than stone and mortar. It had become a prison not only for men, but for spirits, for anger, for unfinished business. Visitors who come today still report chills that creep up the spine. The feeling of eyes following them down the endless corridors. Some have seen figures in the corners of their vision, pale and distorted, vanishing when approached. Others have heard cries of desperation echoing from empty cells, a reminder that the past is never truly gone. Even the bravest cannot deny that there is a weight in the air, an oppressive presence that lingers in every hallway, in every barred window, in every solitary cell. And what makes Eastern State Penitentiary truly terrifying is the question that haunts every visitor, every historian, every thrill seeker who dares to walk its corridors. Are these just memories trapped in stone? Or are the prisoners' spirits truly still here, bound by the suffering they endured, unable to leave? Forever trapped in a house of pain. Some say that the Jinn, the restless energy of those who have been wronged, inhabit these cells to this very day. That if you listen closely, you can hear their whispers, feel their presence, and maybe, if you are unlucky, make them notice you. Walking these halls, you can almost feel time folding in on itself. The ghosts of decades past brush against the present. The cries of the lost bleed into the silence, filling it with something that no living human should ever hear. And it is this inescapable tension, this oppressive sense of being watched, that makes the penitentiary a place of true horror. Not because it is old, not because it is abandoned, but because it carries within it the very essence of human suffering, sharpened to a fine edge and waiting. The prison is more than history. It is a lesson, a warning. The walls hold a memory of everything that happened inside. The isolation, the despair, the cruelty, they have taken form. They have weight, and they have a life of their own. Visitors have felt cold hands on their shoulders, heard names whispered that should never have been spoken, and seen shadows that flicker in and out of existence like smoke. It is a place where the veil between the living and the dead feels impossibly thin, where the stories of men long gone are never truly gone, where every stone and every cell hums with the resonance of the past. And so, the question remains, what really lingers in Eastern State Penitentiary? Is it simply memory, history, and the legacy of crime? Or is there something darker at play? Something that watches, that waits, that feeds on the despair that was once human flesh and blood. Some say that even now, the spirits of the inmates remain, trapped forever in the cells, reliving their last moments, unable to escape the prison that imprisoned their bodies and their souls. So if you ever walk down the long corridors of Eastern State Penitentiary, remember this: every echo, every shadow, every whisper may not belong to the living. And if you feel a cold breath on the back of your neck, or a presence lingering just out of sight, know that you are not alone. The prisoners may be gone, but their spirits, their anger, their suffering, may still be caged within these walls. And if you are unlucky, you may become part of their story, part of the echoes that will haunt Eastern State Penitentiary forever.